So what common comorbidity tendencies or disorders do you see with hoarding?
I see quite a few. I mean, it depends, but I often see PTSD of some kind. That is one that I see over and over again. There's some kind of trauma, whether they meet the criteria for full post-traumatic stress disorder or not. They've had a trauma, a loss, which is a trauma, and then that's usually what sets off, a series of them, and then one of them sets off the hoarding to become exponentially worse. It's just like one too many traumas. You said something to me earlier that I want to get on video.
I did. Well, we've done a series of interviews with organizers, professional organizers, and one of them said to me, think about it, we're all one breakdown away from hoarding. And I thought that was so powerful because you can see it.
You can see it. Yeah.
If we go through terrible trauma, a big grief, or a divorce, or something, how we could just fill up our homes.
Yeah, and and it might be that it's another comorbidity I see is major depressive disorder.
Oh, okay.
So they either have they might or they're going through a period of grief. And from a loss, or they have full-on major depressive disorder. And sometimes that's not hoarding. Sometimes they don't have the energy to clean up. They don't care anymore. And that happened, sometimes on the show as well, where there was a couple episodes where we got there and I'm like, this person doesn't have hoarding disorder. They had major depressive disorder. We had one couple that both of them were extremely depressed.
Oh my goodness.
So you're talking about the Buried Alive show.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, the Hoarding Buried Alive show that I was on for 4 years, and you guys were on the first episode with me. But so definitely that's one that there's also depression that will go along with it that it's comorbid with the hoarding disorder. ADHD I see constantly.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, and it really helps if they get treated for that ADHD before you start working with them.
Oh, absolutely.
And organizing. That's what I find when I try to go into the home with them, or used to try to go into the home. But we'll talk about that later. And then I see definitely social anxiety disorder, where they do not want to leave their home, and they don't want to get out and do things with people. So the hoard becomes their bunker. Yes. They hide behind their wall of stuff, or it prevents people from coming into their home.
Do you find that if something changes, like for instance, if their son or daughter gets married and then their grandchildren, do you find ever that that's a reason for someone to be more motivated to get beyond the hoarding?
So somebody gets married and they might want to actually bring people into their home? Or?
No, let's say the person who has hoarded their home, their son or daughter gets married and now they're grandchildren, and the grandchildren can't come over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that they get motivated because they want the grandchildren to come over.
I'm just wondering if you ever see that something in their life changes, so that all of a sudden
they get the motivation.
There's a motivator there to clean
and
up.
I will say the reverse as well. Obviously, we know grief or loss, that they lose somebody. If somebody moves out of the home, that might be the kid goes off to college and that they start hoarding that room first.
Sure.
Or I've had people die in a room. So a loved one died in a room, and then they start hoarding that room first. But one of the things I find when you talk about people wanting the grandkids to come home is that I find that there are times they say they want the grandkids to come home, but they really do not want anybody in their home touching their stuff.
Yes. Okay.
So I learned from an organizer on the Hoarding Buried Alive show. She taught me the difference between the ideal self and the real self.
Wonderful.
And that was a really fabulous tool, where their ideal self was, I'm a great grandma and I want to entertain everybody at my house. But their real self is, no, I don't want anybody coming over really. So I'm going to hoard even more to keep y'all out.
Oh, wow.
As a protection.
As a protection. And so that's that's where the social anxiety comes in, or just, they're just over it. They've had their own kids, or they don't want to really be grandma, even though they think they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. That's a good